Hey, it's time for my final guest of the day. Yes, he's a pioneer in electronic music. He's sold millions of records and staged groundbreaking concerts all over the world. He's just released the first of 2 album projects for collaborations featuring Moby, Vince Clarke and Laurie Anderson. Love Laurie Anderson. He's travelled from Paris this very morning, which wasn't easy, as we know from Sally. That was not easy. Jean-Michel Jarre is next, and to get us in the mood, his latest. And that's the latest one from Little Boots and Jean-Michel Jarre, who joins me now. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Are you all right?
Yes, absolutely. I went this morning from Paris through the Eurostar, no delay, so I'm a happy man.
Very, very good. Because we were just saying, Eurostar is amazing when it works.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's actually more and more by chance now when you're on time. It used to be better.
Have you been stuck on it? Have you had terrible delays?
Oh yes, one time actually I've been stuck for so long that we had to leave the train, going and staying on the field somewhere in the middle of cows, waiting for the next one to come. And I was sitting on my luggage. On my right side I had Henry Kissinger. And I met Henry Kissinger of middle of some French cows.
Lovely.
Lovely meeting, yes.
And I'm sure he was in a great mood.
Absolutely, yes. Dealing with the world. I mean, you know, he's kind of guy having a kind of distance, I mean, from everything happening in the world. So he was rather philosophical about it.
Now, this new album, Electronica, this is #1, The Time Machine, which suggests there's going to be more.
That's right. I mean, actually, it's based on the idea that I wanted to work with people who have been a source of inspiration to me, or are still a source of inspiration to me, linked directly or indirectly to the electronic music scene over 4 decades, since more or less when I started. And actually, I got the surprise that everybody said yes. So
but isn't that Jean-Michel Jarre? You're being too modest, because actually you say these people inspired you. You inspired them. I mean, you sort of created this sound, didn't you?
Yeah, but you know, you never know yourself. I mean, you say that, but you never know when you knock at the door of Pete Townsend or 3D Massive Attack. They're not. You don't know if they will be interested in such a project. And actually, everybody having said yes, I ended with 2 hours and almost 30 minutes of music. Impossible to put it on one album. Is the reason why this Electronica 1 will be followed by Electronica 2 in spring 2016. Yeah.
And here's the thing. So sometimes these sort of collaboration albums could be quite a lazy affair. Absolutely. But not for you. You sat down, you were physically present with all these people.
Yeah, you know, in days where actually, as you just said, Graham, about the fact that you have so many featuring albums, and I hate this word actually, because it's actually sending files through the net, and you're not going to talk to the people, not even going to meet with them. And in my case, there is a reason why, in terms of sound, inspiration in music, to meet with the people. So actually, it took me 4 years to complete the album, to really meet physically with people, spending some time in studio, in Germany, in London, here, in the States. I mean, really to spend time and share our DNAs in a real physical way.
Which is interesting, because it's such a kind of, because it's electronica and it's electronic music, you imagine that you'd be very keen on doing it with, you know, sharing files with but you like that old-fashioned thing of just being solid in a room.
But I wouldn't agree with you. I don't think that being physically in the same room is something old, dated. I think it's timeless.
I can't believe you're here.
It's much better doing this face to face than being on Skype.
No, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
And,
sorry.
And actually, you know the idea. Obviously, you know, electronic music is a kind of solitary process. You are in your home studio, a little bit like a writer or a painter in his atelier, and most of the time we don't like to share secrets. Our secrets are maniac touch of doing things, and it was quite generous of them also to open their doors, and we had lots of good time. I mean, it's not the old days. I think it's about music. Music is about sharing, okay, and sharing emotions. It was really great to share emotions with so many different people from different generations as well.
And what's your approach to lyrics? Because your music back in the day, you know, it was just this wonderful wall of sound.
Yeah.
So are lyrics secondary to you?
It's funny you say that, because when I started my career as a musician producer, I started by writing lyrics.
Oh, really?
And and producing and doing lots of lyrics for French artists such as François Hardy and Christophe and some rock and pop singers in France. And then I moved into instrumental, and maybe now in the third part of my life I'm going to join lyrics and songs, more or less what I've done in Electronica, actually.
And you became famous for staging these huge events. Now, is that a particularly, well, I mean, son et lumière is a French expression, so is it a very kind of ancient French tradition, that idea of putting on light shows with music?
Maybe on a kind of national genetic way somehow, but it's not that. I mean, when I started at a very early stage, I realized that it was not really sexy to stay 2 hours behind your synthesizer or your laptop. And then I was quite obsessed by the opera as an art form. I mean, working with scenograph, carpenters and painters in the old days. And I thought at a very early stage that it could be interesting when you are the opportunity to listen to music everywhere, more or less. People have visual expectations of artists they like, and when they go to a concert, they have something else than just hearing listening to the music. So I just worked with the visual techniques of my generation. I mean, video and electronic and lights and lasers, and I mean, to also in those days it was quite unique. And then you see that just after that, I mean, even rock bands such as the Stones or U2, they were just bands with few lights. And now, if you see the massive production of rock and roll, I mean, it's apart from the EDM and the electronic scene. I mean, a lot of, more or less everybody now has screens, and it's part of the game. And that was something that I really explored when I started doing electronic music, really, and saying, okay, I would like to perform this music on stage in a different way, because the instruments are different.
Yes. Presumably, because you've collaborated with all these people now, you can't stage these songs, can you? Or
actually, at a very, very early stage when I was starting this project Electronica, I said, I really would like to go on stage with this, and with the collaboration, it shouldn't be a problem. Why? Because actually, I'm going to end with a project of more than 2 hours. So, lots of tracks are instrumental, so they don't require the presence, the physical presence of collaborators. And also, lots of them also said, you know, depending on our agenda, we may join you in one city or one country. So I think that the concert will be slightly different from town to town, with some surprise guests and things. And when
you're just sitting at home, is it always a synthesizer, or do you have just a regular piano that you tinker at, or?
Yeah, obviously I have a regular piano, and you know, I'm not necessarily traveling with a synthesizer. Actually, you're not traveling with your piano as well. But at home, at home, actually, it's true. Yes, I make no difference. You know, a keyboard is a keyboard, which is acoustic. I collaborated in this project with a fantastic pianist, classical pianist, with Lang Lang.
Of course, yes.
And also, I'm coming from the classical scene. I think it was nice also to create this link with classical music. You know, electronic music has nothing to do with America. It has nothing to do with jazz or blues. It's coming from Europe, and from this tradition we have in Europe of classical music, this long instrumental piece, and which has nothing to do with the American pop format. And so the link between electronic music and classical music has always been quite obvious to me.
Or Vince Clarke, he crops up more than once on the album. So we'll play. This is Automatic Part 1. Is there anything you need to tell us about this? Are you obviously you're a fan of Vince Clarke's, but
you know in this album you have really people from different generations. And for me, Vince Clarke, one of the founders of Depeche Mode and Erasure and all what we know, for me, is one of the very important sounds of the 80s, and also is very timeless. today everybody is referring of the 80s in the movies, in movies, in lifestyle, everything. And Vince has this kind of I call him a kind of Jackson Pollock of synthesizer. You know, he has this kind of pointiest way of working and dealing with sequences and all that. And we had lots of fun. He's living in Brooklyn now, and we spent very fantastic moments together. And actually, I went with 2 demos. And at the very early stage, we said, okay, let's do both. And this is the reason why that we have a track called Automatic Part 1 and Part 2. One is more pointiest, the one we are going to listen to, and the other one is more melodic, more clubby, or Vince Clarke way.
Well, let's hear it. The unmistakable sound there of Jean-Michel Jarre with a little help from Vince Clarke. That's Automatic Part 1, and that is from Electronica. Part 1.
Absolutely.
He likes a sequence. He won't stop. There's more to come. There's more to come.
I'm trying to improve myself, because with Oxygen it was Oxygen Part 1, Oxygen Part 2, Oxygen Part 3, Part 5. Yeah, I made an effort, if you can.
It is nice that you've chosen a new name. And also, what's unbelievable listening to that is that it's just shy of 40 years since we heard Oxygen in 1976.
Yeah, when I started the project, it was only 35. It took me 5 years, and I had no idea that it would be 40 when I will complete the whole project.
Listen, people have been in touch, because, you know, a lot of British people are slightly obsessed by you. So this is from John Matthews. Can you ask Jean-Michel if we'll ever see a DVD or Blu-ray release of his legendary Houston and Lyon shows from 1986?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be released probably in the next 2 years. I mean, in those kind of DVDs, as you know, back in time, you had always silly problem of copyrights and rights. So it took some time, and also the problem with DVDs of that period, we need to restore the quality, because in terms of the first digital tapes were not that good if you're comparing this what we're doing now. So it requires a bit of work, and I would like to do it by myself. So I have to find the time.
And Brian in Sheffield wants to know: are there composers that have kind of influenced you? Or what influenced? Was it a composer, or was it musicians who kind of shaped you when you were growing up?
I mean, you know, coming from I would say a classical background and rock band. I used to play in rock bands. I mean, I was influenced by, amongst others, by, for instance, people like The Who. One of the reasons it was such an honor and pleasure to collaborate in Electronica with Pete Townsend. It's actually, Pete Townsend is for me a very big reference. He's the one who introduced synthesizers and sequences in rock, with songs such as Baba O'Reilly, albums such as Who's Next, and also he always wanted to push the boundaries of just the regular performance of rock by being the inventor of rock opera with things such as Tommy and projects such as Tommy and Quadrophenia. And also what I liked with The Who is this idea that they were creating a kind of a wall of sound. I mean, 4 guys just apparently not listening to the other ones and just doing solos on their... I mean, Keith Moon was, doing solos all the time. John Entwistle was probably playing 50 notes per second. Roger was screaming and shouting and all the time, and Pete with one guitar was making the noise of the rhythm guitar and the solo and the guitar solo at the same time, and they've been a big influence to me.
And when Oxygen came out, you know, it was such a I was growing up in Ireland. I'd never heard anything like it. It was extraordinary. You know, it was a shock to the ears. But were there a group of you? Were there other people doing music like that, and you were the one who became successful, or were you really sort of alone, working alone, making that sound?
You know, really, electronic music is coming originally from continental Europe, with people such as in the contemporary music, Stockhausen in Germany and Pierre Schaeffer, Pierre Henry in France, and then you had Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream in Germany, and myself, and but it was really something. As I just said, it has nothing to do with America. I remember one day John Fox from Ultravox, told me, you know, when you have to understand, in the UK, we were invaded by American pop culture. And when the first time I heard Oxygen, suddenly I heard something which has nothing to do with America. And that gave me the idea of doing Ultravox and just forgetting the electric guitar for a while and then doing rock or electropop with keyboards.
Very quickly, Kyle in Neasden wants to know, more often than not, we've touched on this, you give your songs numbers instead of names. Why is that? Do you hate coming up with song names?
No, in instrumental music, I always found a bit artificial to get a title such as Monolith 44.1 or things like that. I mean, and instrumental music for me is like a book. You have a book, you have a title on the cover, and then you have different parts, like different chapters. This was the idea behind it.
We're sort of out of time, and also because you've got to go back to France now.
Yes,
it's an aller-retour. Aller-retour.
Yeah, yes. I have some live show to do in Paris, and I hope that going back to France will be the same, not too painful.
Bon chance with that.
Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir, merci. Electronica Part 1 is out now.
Here we are choosing the tracks of his years. This week it's Jean-Michel Jarre, and his first choice is the Beach Boys.
I love the colorful clothes you wear.
Good Vibrations for me is probably, like for a lot of people, I figure, probably one of the best, if not the best for me, pop song or rock songs of all time, for lots of different reasons. I mean, the structure for me is so original, so unusual. I mean, it's not traditional single. There is also this link which I like with the electronics, because Brian Wilson was using the theremin and all this kind of strange sound design. And it was very experimental, and it could be released today, and it would be still considered as a novelty, as something new. And also I always considered that which is important, the most important in music is the melody. And Good Vibration is not one melody, it's 3, 4, 5 melodies just intermingled and mixed together. And it's a brilliant work. And obviously the whole legend around the song, as Brian Wilson desperate to try to think that he should compete with the Beatles and to do more, and all this kind of crazy ghost he had already in his mind. And that makes me think about this very interesting biopic that just been released with John Cusack playing Brian Wilson, which is very interesting and telling this whole story about this song. So this song is more than a song. It's an whole concept in itself, and it's also something that actually accompanied me all my life, more or less.
Did it inspire you in any way when you were starting?
Absolutely. It has been a great source of inspiration. I mean, coming from a classical background, but also a rock background, playing in local rock bands, and until I went studied electronic music with Pierre Schaeffer and Pierre Henry and all the beginning of these grandfathers of electronic music. Good Vibration was an excellent example of this bridge I had in mind before I did Oxygen, trying to create a bridge between experimental music and pop.
It's making that connection.
Yeah, that's right. And Good Vibration is a perfect example of this.
Terrific. Next, you've chosen Moby and Porcelain.
I'm a big fan of Moby. We just recently collaborated together on my new album, Electronica, and I consider him as a kind of Woody Allen of techno. He has this kind of depressive, consistent tone, but actually hiding cheeky and naughty punk approach to music. And it's a very interesting, Moby is a very interesting mixture of lots of different ingredients. He's a real poet.
Jean-Michel Jarre choosing tracks of his years all this week. ELO first.
Down is really one of my favorite songs, and not only me, but all my family. I mean, my kids have been raised with the sound of Don't Bring Me Down. It became actually one of kind of anthem of the family, and I have a great admiration for Jeff Lynne. I mean, he consider him, and I consider him, as the fifth Beatles. If the Beatles would have continued, I imagine that, and we all imagine that it would sound like Electric Light Orchestra. I mean, so inventive in terms of orchestration and happiness hiding a kind of darker melancholia. And also this kind of sense of the instant pop song, and also the constant energy also, which is very rare. And Don't Bring Me Down has that kind of also, it's very 70s. At the same time, I mean, it's an instant recognizable sound, and it's quite timeless in a sense.
Right, next one is The Who and Baba O'Reilly.
So Baba O'Reilly is very special to me. My new album Electronica just being released in October, and the project grew up far more than my expectation. Is actually, I wanted to gather around me some people linked to the electronic scene, one way or another, on 4 generations, from Tangerine Dream to Air and Gesaffelstein or whatever. And in the middle of this, and very high in my priority and in my wish list, was Pete Townsend. And you could say, why Pete Townsend? Because is he really linked to the electronic scene? And obviously, yes, with Who's Next, with Baba O'Reilly, he was the first one who introduced sequencers and synthesizers in rock music and in pop music. And Baba O'Reilly is also a tribute to Terry Riley. Lots of people don't even necessarily know that. And at the time, I was a big fan of The Who. I was, to get a living, a sound assistant in a recording studio outside Paris. And I was preparing some sequences on the same synth that Pete used on the Baba O'Reilly. Right. For an album of Terry Riley, what we recorded. So there is lots of similarities, and also what I respect a lot with Pete is actually he always tried to push the boundaries also of rock performances. He's the creator of the rock opera with Tommy and Quadrophenia, obviously, and we also are quite close because on my side also I always tried also to push the boundaries of what could be performance in electronic music, as you probably know, and I mean lots of visual techniques to present on stage. So we have lots in common, and I think it's for me one of the most important composers in the rock history.
Here we are choosing the tracks of his years. This week it's Jean-Michel Jarre, and his first choice is the Beach Boys.
I love the colorful clothes you wear.
Good Vibrations for me is probably, like for lots of people, I figure, probably one of the best, if not the best, for me, pop song or rock songs of all time, for lots of different reasons. I mean, the structure for me is so original, so unusual. I mean, it's not traditional single. There is also this link which I like with the electronics, because I mean Brian Wilson was using the theremin and all this kind of strange sound design, and it was very experimental, and it could be released today, and it would be still considered as a novelty, as something new. And also I always considered that which is important, the most important in music is the melody, and Good Vibration is not one melody, it's, I mean, 3, 4, 5 melodies just intermingled and mixed together. And it's a brilliant work. And obviously the whole legend around the song, as Brian Wilson desperate to try to think that he should compete with the Beatles and to do more, and all this kind of crazy ghost he had already in his mind. And that makes me think about this very interesting biopic that just been released with John Cusack playing Brian Wilson, which is very interesting and telling this whole story about this song. So this song is more than a song. It's an whole concept in itself, and it's also something that actually accompanied me all my life, more or less.
What, did it inspire you in any way when you were starting?
Absolutely. It has been a great source of inspiration. I mean, coming from a classical background, but also a rock background, playing in local rock bands, and until I went studied electronic music with Pierre Schaeffer and Pierre Henry and all the beginning of these grandfathers of electronic music. Good Vibration was an excellent example of this bridge I had in mind before I did Oxygen, trying to create a bridge between experimental music and pop.
It's making that connection.
Yeah, that's right. And Good Vibration is a perfect example of this.
Terrific. Next, you've chosen Moby and Porcelain.
I'm a big fan of Moby. We just recently collaborated together on my new album, Electronica, and I consider him as a kind of Woody Allen of techno. He has this kind of depressive, consistent consistent tone, but actually hiding cheeky and naughty punk approach to music. And it's a very interesting, Moby is a very interesting mixture of lots of different ingredients. He's a real poet.
Jean-Michel Jarre choosing tracks of his years all this week. ELO first.
Don't Bring Me Down is really one of my favorite songs, and not only me, but all my family. I mean, my kids have been raised with the sound of Don't Bring Me Down. It became actually one of kind of anthem of the family. And I have a great admiration for Jeff Lynne. I mean, he consider him, and I consider him, as the fifth Beatles. If the Beatles would have continued, I imagine that, and we all imagine that it would sound like Electric Light Orchestra. I mean, so inventive in terms of orchestration and happiness hiding a kind of darker melancholia, and also this kind of sense of the instant pop song, and also the constant energy also, which is very rare. And Don't Bring Me Down has that kind of also, it's, you know, it's very 70s. At the same time, I mean, it's an instant recognizable sound, and it's quite timeless in a sense.
Right, next one is The Who and Baba O'Reilly.
So Baba O'Reilly is very special to me. My new album Electronica just being released in October, and the project grew up far more than my expectation. Is actually, I wanted to gather around me some people linked to the electronic scene, one way or another, on 4 generations, from Tangerine Dream to Air and Gesaffelstein or whatever. And in the middle of this, and very high in my priority and in my wish list, was Pete Townsend. And you could say, why Pete Townsend? Because is he really linked to the electronic scene? And obviously, yes, with Who's Next, with Baba O'Reilly. Yeah. He was the first one who introduced sequencers and synthesizers in rock music and in pop music. And Baba O'Reilly is also a tribute to Terry Riley. Lots of people don't even necessarily know that. And at the time, I was a big fan of The Who. I was, to get a living, a sound assistant in a recording studio outside Paris. And I was preparing some sequences on the same synth that Pete used on the Baba O'Reilly. Right. For an album of Terry Riley, what would record it. So there is lots of similarities, and also what I respect a lot with Pete is actually he always tried to push the boundaries also of rock performances. He's the creator of the rock opera with Tommy and Quadrophenia, obviously, and we also are quite close because on my side also I always tried also to push the boundaries of what could be performance in electronic music, as you probably know, and I mean lots of visual techniques to present on stage. So we have lots in common, and I think it's for me one of the most important composers in the rock history.
Chosen this week by Jean-Michel Jarre. His first choice for today is Laurie Anderson's Oh Superman.
Laurie Anderson is a dear friend and probably, for me, one of the greatest figures of the New York scene. She is an innovator. She opened so many doors while she was married with Lou Reed. She did a little less music and more visual arts. She's a brilliant video artist and painters and sculptor, and she's absolutely a complete genius and complete artist on lots of different ways. She opened also the door to all people these days processing their voice. I mean, she was the first one to transform her voice into a man, into a child. It's an old alien or whatever, and I do love her a lot, and actually I've been really proud to collaborate with her in my new album. We had this idea of creating a dark love song between a smartphone and a human being, obviously Laurie playing the smartphone. And Oh Superman for me has been a big shock in the history of music. I must say that I love everything she does.
Terrific concept, that. Wonderful. Madonna is next, and music.
I was not a big Madonna's fan until Ray of Light, and until the work she did with electronic music. Firstly with William Orbit, with Ray of Light, and then with a great producer and musician called Mir Weiss, who did music. He really suddenly created a total different audio environment to Madonna, and Madonna has been really smart, that we know. And music is something what was quite new when it has been released, and it's very special, very minimalist, and something that actually is also again a timeless song.
Hey, Mr. DJ, put a record on.
Madonna with music. Jean-Michel Jarre. His choices on Tracks of My Years all this week.
88 to 91 FM. The tracks of my years. BBC Radio 2.
Tracks of My Years chosen this week by Jean-Michel Jarre. First today, Cyndi Lauper.
I just love this song, and I love Cyndi. For me, she's the first Lady Gaga. I mean, she's this kind of crazy approach to sound, to music, to life, and she's a brilliant, accomplished musician. She just introduced her new musical in London, Kinky Boots, and I had also the opportunity to collaborate with her on my album and to do something really electronic, and we had lots of fun. And she is really crazy. I mean, she even did some backing vocals in most extraordinary places while she was traveling in planes or things, and she is really a true crazy artist in the good sense of the word, and it's very rare to be able to be a great performer, a great producer, great lyricist, great melodist and composer, and she has quite a unique place in the history of the American, or even more than American, worldwide history of pop music.
Yep, she's an original artist.
Absolutely,
no doubt about that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Next, it's Massive Attack and Teardrop.
Massive Attack is definitely for me the sound of the 90s. They have this kind of very sexual, sensual approach to sound, this unique ability to also create some space around sound, and there is a kind of sense of danger and also being soft, but it's a scary softness somehow. And again, it's also in this Electronica project I had the opportunity to work with Robert Nadja, the leader of Massive Attack. They have a very visual approach. He's a brilliant street artist painter, and I think he has this kind of visual approach to the fact he's dealing with textures and layers of sounds, and I choose Teardrop, but I could have chosen any song of Massive Attack.
88 to 91 FM. The tracks of my years. BBC Radio 2.
It is Tracks of My Years, and they're chosen this week by Jean-Michel Jarre. First today, Pink Floyd.
With Pink Floyd, we have a lot in common. I think we were both artists on each side of the channel to be really involved in doing scenographies and introducing our work on a visual way. Totally different style than lots of rock artists and pop artists used to do when we started. Also, I remember when I was working in this very serious music research center in Paris with lots of people, very intellectual French people, about in doing electroacoustic music and thinking about the future and all that. I mean, I was impressed to see that people outside, in the kind of almost intuitive, empiric way, would, I mean, they were doing more or less the same thing. I mean, working on textures and things, and also processing, sound processing. I mean, they opened so many doors, Pink Floyd, and this track Time is timeless.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. And the final one is Herbie Hancock with Rocket.
Herbie Hancock is a little bit like Miles Davis. He's a kind of sort of Picasso of jazz. He had different periods, and among these periods there is one I really like, is when he's been in contact with synthesizers and the first samplers. I think with Peter Gabriel, Herbie Hancock and myself, we had one of the first Australian instruments called the Fairlight, and the Fairlight was a total revolution in the history of music, because for the first time you could go with the microphone outside and record the sound of the car, of the rain, of the wind, of your dog, and playing chords with the sound of your dogs.
Yeah.
And it was quite not necessarily convincing on a musical point of view, but obviously opening lots of new doors. And Rocket is a very interesting bridge between jazz and electronic beats.
Well, before we play that, just tell me a little bit more about your current project, Electronica. Is this the beginning of a long-term and many other versions of it in the future?
Interesting question, because actually one music critics recently told me, did you invent the concept of the never-ending album? Which is not the case. Actually, to explain to your listeners, this project Electronica came along 5 years ago, and I wanted to collaborate with people together around me, people who are a source of inspiration, who have been a source of inspiration to me, covering 4 decades of electronic music, all linked directly or indirectly to the electronic scene. And there is always a reason why I wanted to collaborate with them. And in days where you have so many albums with featuring, most of the time you send a file in space somewhere and somebody is going to put a top line, a kind of melody line with a guitar or synth, and you never meet. In this case, as a dogma, I wanted to travel and meet with the people, working with them and starting almost from scratch. And actually the project grew up far more than my expectations. I stayed too long in the studio for these last 4 years.
Are you going to be
fresh air? Yeah. I need fresh air.
Are you going to be doing any of these massive events, the audio-visual, the complete surround events that you've become so famous for?
We are in discussions on different projects, but actually I would like also to visit some festivals, because I love the idea of festivals where there are outdoor events, and also there is grammar for festivals. I mean, you have rules. It's interesting to try to hijack these rules one way or another. So I'm trying to work on this.
You're pushing the boundaries all the time, in everything.
We'll see. We'll see.
Jean-Michel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My final guest is the French electronic music pioneer Jean-Michel Jarre. With a career spanning 4 decades plus, he's just released his 19th studio album, celebrating an incredibly eclectic lineup of collaborators. Welcome, the one and only Jean-Michel. How are you? Really nice to see you. Come and sit down.
Hi. Hello. Hi. How are you?
Hi. Hello. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
So this new album, it's a part of a bigger project, isn't it? Electronica, yeah?
Yes, it's a project I actually started 5 years ago, and the idea was to gather around me some people linked to the electronic music scene, but I would say even beyond to technology, one way or another, and who have been or are source of inspiration to me. And then the idea was to meet with them in person, so I traveled a lot in days that most of the time artists are sending files through the internet.
But you actually went to everyone, didn't you?
Yes, I went to and meet to everybody, and everybody said yes. So actually I ended with almost 2.5 hours of music.
This is what I love, okay, when you've got your album and you've got the vinyl here,
yes,
all the collaborators are there, and that's how many of them are. But they're also like music royalty. We're talking people like Pete Townsend, Cyndi Lauper, Hans Zimmer, Moby,
Pet Shop Boys, Gary Newman, and also some people from the younger generation. I mean, some newcomers such as Gisa Feinstein or Air, or some French band, German. I mean, it's interesting because electronic music is really European. It has nothing to do with the American pop, and all these great artists from the UK, from France, from Germany are the roots of electronic music.
And what I love is that you described it as getting naked with your heroes.
You know, musicians are all a bit exhibitionist anyway.
Okay. You didn't though, did you? Come on.
No, I didn't spend my 5 years naked. No.
One of the most interesting collaborations, though, Edward Snowden, working for the CIA.
Yeah, actually, one of the recurrent theme of Electronica is this kind of ambiguous relationship we have with technology these days. On one side, we have the world in our pocket through our smartphones, but on the other side, we feel that somehow we are spied on from the outside world.
Yeah.
And when I was recording Electronica, I heard about Edward Snowden through The Guardian, and I've been actually strangely enough, it made me think about my mother. My mother was a great figure in the French resistance, and she went into the resistance in 1941 at a very early stage. And what French people don't like to remember is actually most of French people in those days, they were quite considering resistance like troublemakers, even for some of them like traitors, because they were actually questioning the power in place. And it's exactly what Edward Snowden have done by, revealing and saying, not stop to the use, but be careful about use and abuse of technology. And for I think for young kids, I mean, being attracted by populist people such as Donald Trump or Marine Le Pen, I mean, I think more by rejection of the power in place. When you have a young man, a young individual man like Edward Snowden, being able to question the power in place in his country for the love, for the sake of the values of his country, I think it's worthwhile actually to dedicate a track to him.
Absolutely. Where does the music come from with you? Because your dad, Maurice, was an Oscar-winning composer, yeah?
Yes, actually, my father was a great composer. He did soundtracks for Lawrence of Arabia and Dr. Zhivago, and actually we obviously it's really probably had an influence on the level of chromosome, because unfortunately my parents split up when I was 5 years old, and I grew up far away from his influence and for his presence even.
What about your mum? Did she love music?
Yes, my mum was a great character. I mean, and she was quite fun, and she loved jazz. And actually, her best friend in Paris had the most influential jazz club called Le Chat qui Pêche, the fishing cat.
Okay.
And there you had people such as Chet Baker and John Coltrane and Don Cherry. As a kid, I have no idea about where these guys were. And I remember that for my eighth birthday, Chet Baker sat me on the upright piano, and he played for 5 minutes. And every time I'm remembering this story, I still feel the air on my little chest of a young eight years guy, and that was probably my first central organic relationship with music.
I like it. The big breakthrough album that everyone talks about is Oxygène.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you are saying it with a French accent, Oxygène. Okay. Because it's a very important gas on both sides of the channel.
Of course it is, yeah. But what I love about it is that, I don't know if this story is true, but all the major record labels turned it down to start with.
Yes, because everybody said, but what's this album is about? I mean, you have tracks of 10 minutes, no drummers, no singers, and on top of it is French. You know, so
we've got a little clip actually, just to remind ourselves.
Wow.
Do you know what I love about that story? Is that, the majors weren't keen on it and everything. It went on to sell in excess of
12 million or even or something.
Yay!
Like
You must love pressure though, because you've also revolutionised the live concert scene. What I love is that first open air gig in Paris in front of 1 million people got you into the Guinness World Book of Records. We laugh at that now, because since then you've done a 2.5 million viewed concert in Paris again, and then one in Moscow for 3.5 million people.
Yeah, but you know, I'm not sponsored by Guinness. I'm not interested by records, obviously. But you know, I've been at a very early stage interested by how to visualize music in days where we can hear music everywhere, in the street, in your car, at home. And I mean, the scenography, the visual side of concert have always been
Yeah, but 3.5 million people, you get your head around that.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I can't say, because I'm not responsible for all this. I don't even understand why all these Russians were there that night.
It was a very moving evening, wasn't it, as well? Because wasn't it the night that Princess Diana had died?
Absolutely. It was the night of the Princess Diana's funeral, and I was quite a friend of Princess Diana, and she went actually at my concert in the Docklands, and it was really strange, because you know, Saturday night on Moscow, lots of vodka is going on, right? And suddenly I dedicated one song to to Princess Diana, because she was fond of one of my songs called Souvenir of China. And then I just dedicated this track to her, and suddenly this all chaotic Russian crowd, they just remained totally silent, trying to get some candles and lighters.
Oh, wow.
And it was so moving. Like, I mean, Moscow was quite far away from London. And to have this whole crowd suddenly just sharing the moment. I mean, I was almost in tears. We couldn't even play for 2 or 3 minutes. It was a very moving moment.
Very quickly, I know that you're touring Europe, June and July. You're coming back here as well. And stop the press. You're indoors in manageable venues. What's going on? You're going to be claustrophobic. It's only the O2, for goodness sake. It's not big enough.
And also the Jodrell Bank, it's a Manchester University, a very special place.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real excitement to be in the UK again. I love your country anyway.
Well, listen, we're so thrilled you're here. And I am personally as well, because you're a real hero of mine musically. So
thank you so much.
Thanks so much for being on my show.
Thank you.
Real honour to meet you.
My privilege.
Now then, do you fancy hearing a bit of Tanita Tikaram?
Great, yes.
Phew. Here she is with her big hit, Good Tradition.
I have to say, that is just delightful. Jeff Mills and Jean-Michel Jarre. Yes, Jeff Mills and Jean-Michel Jarre. Now, the Frenchman's on to volume 2 of his Electronica series, this time seeing him release alongside Primal Scream, Sébastien Tellier, Peaches. I'll play you that tonight as well. And bizarrely, Edward Snowden features on one track too. Of that track, Jean-Michel Jarre says, one of the recurrent themes of Electronica volumes 1 and 2 is our ambiguous relationship with technology. On the one side, the world in our pocket. On the other, the world might be spying on us. Our future needs brave people like him. So Jean-Michel Jarre will also take to the stage throughout the summer, touching down at the likes of Sonar, Melt and Jodrell Bank. The Frenchman's been leading the electronic charge for over 45 years, composing and producing music since the late 60s. So it would have felt like a bit of travesty not to quiz him about the songs to soundtrack his Perfect Night as he takes to the road once again. I am delighted, therefore, to introduce An Evening with Jean-Michel Jarre now on Six Music.
Six Music. This is BBC Radio 6 Music.
Nemone's Electric Ladyland.
Hi Nemone, my name is Jean-Michel Jarre, and I would like to share with you my 3 idle tracks for a perfect evening. So to start the evening, I would like to share with you a track I really love called Opus from Eric Prydz. I think it has that kind of ideal structure of starting quite slow and building and making you in the right mood for the next step. So when I'm out, I need energy and adrenaline. So you have so many different ways of getting a good push. And this is the reason why I chose The Big Jump by Chemical Brothers. It's not the usual track from Chemical Brothers, but I love this kind of obsessive loop and something we need when you're out and when you want to have fun, where the trancy or the kind of hypnotic side of any kind of music is more important than the melodies itself. I always thought that the melody is the most important thing in music, except when you want to have just fun and when you just want to use the music as a tool for yourself to get excited. The Big Jump is a very unusual way of getting excited by this kind of progression and really crazy, intense way of making you move. When I'm finished with all these kind of crazy moments and I need to chill out a bit, I have lots of other choices, like all of you, I'm sure. But I choose today a track I really love, and it's by Simeon Mobile Disco, and the track is called Tangents, and it has that kind of very specific structure and construction. It's quite melodic. It's quite organic as well. I mean, dealing with textures and pads, but having still a kind of echo of what happened during the night. Which is great with chill out kind of moments. Is actually you still have a kind of the echo or the feedback of the energy you just went through, like in a big psychedelic tunnel, and then you are out of the tunnel, but you still have need of a bit of energy, the same energy, but like if you were in the middle of a kind of cocoon or cotton type of crazy room. And I think this track Tangents is exactly what I would need, and I hope it will be the same for you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Jean-Michel Jarre for a fabulous trio of tunes. Kicking off his evening with Eric Prydz and Opus, followed by the fantastic Big Jump of the Chemical Brothers' fifth album, Push the Button, winding up nicely with Simeon Mobile Disco's Tangents, which is from their incredible Whirl album. They performed it in session for me here at 6 when it came out, and they DJ'd for us, Electric Ladyland, around the same time at Green Man Festival. Thank you to Jean-Michel Jarre, and next week in this slot I'll bring you a trio of tunes chosen by the awesome Mugwump.